Then we've got a small group that will review those initial proposals, including Jamie Stein from your team is going to be on that initial review committee. And then we'll take it to the rest of the board for final recommendations. And then we've also got requests for proposals for broker services as well. We ran that simultaneously because in the event that either we don't get a proposal that we can live with during this first round, we're going to let a large national broker help us with another round of RFPs. And even if we are successful in having just somebody come to the table who's a perfect fit, we'll probably engage that broker to help us structure the agreement with that developer. So.
Are you able to gauge like a level of optimism for the first round of RFPs to go out, to have something come in that's that would be enticing for us to go with?
So with regard to optimism, I'm not sure, but we do have interest. We've had quite a few folks. There were a lot of developers, development groups that had tried to work with the previous master developer and were unsuccessful, and we're pretty confident that 2 or 3 of those groups intend to submit proposals. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you, James.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Okay, next up we have Ms. Barbara Ryan with the St. Mary Community Arts Center and St. Mary's Little Theater.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, for giving us this opportunity to talk to our community. So, I am Barbara Ryan Harris. I am the founder of St. Mary's Little Theater. And October 20th of last year, we were up here. Gloria, our current chair, gave a presentation to impress upon you the importance of having a performing arts center. She also showed you 20, well, not 20, but there are more than 20 cities that are smaller than St. Mary's who have funded and support their own performing arts center. And she gave you several examples of that and where the revenue came from to take care of that. And tonight I'm going to leave with you a copy of that presentation for the most part, so you don't have to delve back. Okay, and also leave you a copy of tonight's presentation. So I didn't want to have to repeat that tonight. My slideshow is fairly short. So after we're going on 16 years here in the town, we are the oldest community performing group in St. Mary's, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and through the generosity of Doug Vault, we've been so fortunate for the last 15 plus years to be housed at Theater by the Tracks, and he never charged us any rent. We paid for expenses, of course, but we've been very fortunate. But our last show was the middle of August on my birthday, and it was a terrible birthday present. So it was our last show. The listing real estate agent gave us 2 weeks to get out, which I don't really think actually was legal, but anyway, or just wasn't, wasn't something we wanted to do. It was the most grueling 2 weeks of my life. I mean, that's why I look like I look right now, because it set me back about 10 years. But we did it. We in 2 weeks, we took 15 years of stage sets, props, costumes, lighting, sound, 200 seats. I mean, it was grueling. But we do appreciate that Doug let us have that time. And if you've all been, it's an incredible building. It is the last remaining historical marker of what was the backbone of St. Mary's for many, many years. And I'll bet you, if I had to have people raise hands, I'll bet you at least 50% of the people in this room were either kin to somebody or their own family, or they themselves worked at the paper mill. So we know how important that was to the city of St. Mary's. So we have temporarily, we're so fortunate that Pigmental Studios is allowing us to perform in their auditorium. However, it's really a hardship because also the other saltwater players, they perform there and they're very prolific. They do like 12 shows a year, we do like 4 shows a year, but because of that we don't really have rehearsal time, and we we can't get into the theater until about 5 days before our actual show starts. So you can imagine that does limit us with what kind of stage sets we can have. So what we're going to tell you now is that we're homeless, we're orphans, and I'm hoping to pull on your heartstrings tonight because really tonight's presentation is not so much about St. Mary's Little Theater, it's about community. We aspire tonight to show you the value of a performing cultural arts center, and we are /cultural arts center, supported by the city, how important it is to our community. During granting audience to public, you're going to hear from a few other people. And we try to keep it as short as possible. But we are asking the city to help bring to our community just such a center that we talked about. And we have a PowerPoint presentation. I apologize, neither Gloria nor I are PowerPoint experts, so if there's some glitches in, we're sorry. We had a lot of discussion, and after much discussion, we decided to, and it's not written in stone, but we came up with the name of St. Mary's Community Playhouse. And we wanted to name it St. Mary's Community Arts Center, but the Camden Art League are using that, and we didn't want to, that wouldn't have been good. We wouldn't have done that to them. So we're proposing St. Mary's Community Playhouse, and we'll tell you why in just a minute. So, what the name does connote, though, it connotes creativity, imagination, and entertainment. And again, most important, the emphasis is on community. Okay. All right, let's go into that. Vibrant cities have vibrant performing arts centers, and we know that. We back it up with research. You'll find a lot of that research in the Leave Behind from the October 20th presentation. For cultural enrichment, we have arts programming. It elevates community identity and pride. Economic impact, arts center drive tourism and local business revenue. And community inclusion, we have accessible arts, foster connection across all demographics. Quality of life, cultural venues enhance livability and attract residents. And someone pointed out, they called me today, and they pointed out, because they knew I was doing the presentation, they said, be sure and mention this. And I hadn't thought about it. We know as a city and as a county, we want our high school students to maybe go away to college, but we want them to come back. We need youth in our city and our county. Well, one of the ways you can make them come back, Camden High School has such an amazing theater program, and there are a lot of people involved in it. We want to give them another reason to come back, is they'll be able to express their art and use the education they had while here in Camden High School. So I did want to mention that. Next. Okay, good. So funding sources that other people have used, possibilities. There's that little glitch. But SPLOST, the bed tax revenue, state and federal grants. That building, I've talked to Jamie Stein, and we feel like we can get it historically designated. It is a historic building. And because of that, there's a lot of grants available, more to the city, of course, than to us as a small nonprofit. In-kind partnerships and general fund contributions. This is how other people, other cities, even smaller than ours, have accomplished that. Next. So our mission, the St. Mary's Community Playhouse will unite and uplift our community through performing, cultural, and visual arts. We champion creativity as a catalyst for connection, inclusion, and shared identity, providing a vibrant home where artists and audiences celebrate expression, inspire dialogue, and strengthen St. Mary's cultural fabric. As a regional tourism draw, the Playhouse will amplify our city's economic standing. So that's our mission. We're going to hold true to that. This next is a place for our community. It's a place for them to learn. We'll have educational programs in performing and visual arts. It's a place to play. That's why we use the word play in our name. Creative expression through theater and performance. It's a place to imagine. We talked about calling it the Imagination Center. but we decided Playhouse would be easier. So this inspires creativity and artistic exploration. It's a place for us all to grow, to develop talent and building confidence for the ones who participate. It's a place to share, showcase our local artists and cultural heritage, and it's a place to celebrate, bringing the community together and, through the arts. And we're not just talking about theater, we're talking about cultural arts, we're talking about history. I know Kay Westbury was up here at a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and how we all would love a history museum in St. Mary's. And while we can't provide the hermetic sealed environment that would be needed for so many of those priceless artifacts, but we can provide the story, so we can get started with a history museum there. And of course, we can display people's visual arts, local artists, and so forth. Okay. Next. Comprehensive arts programming. It would involve performing arts, as I said. Visual arts, I just went over that. Cultural arts, we could either host festivals. We do plan to have an educational workshop. We're celebrating diversity. St. Mary's Little Theater is always has been about diversity and inclusion. Inclusion. It's very important to us. And then we talked about that history museum. So here's the meat, guys. Here's 3 scenarios that we thought could be a possibility. The health department building, as you know, of course you know, the county owned it, but they gave it back to the city so the city has another asset there, another building that they have to get rid of. And we thought that the health department would be a great place to have a playhouse. The pros on that is that, there's no cash outlay whatsoever from the city. We, of course, would help fund the refurbishing. And the cons are, for us, it diminishes our capacity. Right now, we have a capacity of 160, and we've met with the fire chief, and so we can't go over 100, so it really diminishes our capacity by 33%. That's going to affect our financial. We'll just have to have more shows, of course. So that's option 1. Option 2 is you all buy theater by the tracks. I mean, how can you let that building go? It's historic. It's the gateway to downtown St. Mary's. And of course, the pros on that is we preserve historic gateway to downtown, and it's valued at about $300,000 less than the health department building. So, you can sell the health department building and come out ahead. Okay. The cons are is it would require cash outlay from the city. But if you sold the health department, you'd still be $300,000 to the good. Number 3 is, we call it the Midtown space for you all out there. It's the space that the city council will ultimately be going into, and there's tons of space out there. And, we could go in there tomorrow and just with curtains create a scenario theater without putting a nail in the wall. Wouldn't have to put a nail in the wall. You just curtain stuff off, and it would be great in a lot of ways. Again, no cash outlay for a city, and it will kind of it will make the Midtown more vibrant. And we've heard a lot about that. Why do you always worry about downtown? Why can't you do Midtown? So that's something I think that people would like for the city to do. Okay, but that would be a temporary solution, obviously, unless you guys incorporate it in your long-term plan. So the next slide is what our optimal scenario is, and that is, for us to occupy Midtown until you guys started construction, and you all purchase Theater by the Tracks. That would be a long-term thing. And so that would be future occupancy as a community arts center performing in visual and cultural arts. So how will St. Mary's move forward? Well, adopt proven funding and leverage some of the SPLOST, bid tax or grants, invest in facilities, this repurposing a building, renovating venues, strengthening partnerships. We'd like to build collaborations with other entities. And of course, economic development, promote arts as a tourism driver. Every time I come out with St. Mary's Magazine, I have a big article. It's the biggest article in the magazine about the theater arts here. And I think that bodes well. That magazine goes from Savannah to Jacksonville, actually south of Jacksonville. We have pockets of distribution in Atlanta and South Florida. But, you know, it makes St. Mary's look good as a city, so I'm glad I'm able to do that. We want St. Mary's to become a more vibrant city defined by support of the arts. It's a win-win for our city and for our community and for our future. So I want to thank you so much. We respectfully request the City Council's support in establishing a permanent home for the performing and cultural arts in our community, and together we can create a lasting legacy that enriches lives, strengthens our economy, and defines St. Mary's as a cultural destination. And my mama always told me, Barbara, you got to ask for the order. So I'm asking for the order. I'm asking you to take action and not, you know, because we haven't heard anything from anybody since October 20th. So, like Mama said, I'm asking for the order. So thank you so much for your consideration. I'm available anytime.
Barbara, thank you. I'd like to add that whenever my husband and I visit a city as tourists,